Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Gooner Gathering, Goonerly Meads, Lee Meadows Inn, joined by the poshest man in all of sports entertainment, Posh Bertie, sir. How are you this lovely evening?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good.
Always good to be on these lovely streams, and I'm looking forward to our discussions tonight. How are you?
I've had a very interesting day, my friend. In fact, a very interesting week. Whereas my day seems to be starting earlier and earlier, getting interrupted by little Miss Meadows at about silly o'clock in the morning, getting my bottom kicked like a jobber in the Fed, and yeah, it's been an interesting experience. And she's been off school today because of unforeseen circumstances. So I've been a stay-at-home daddy today. So that's been an unusual experience, but we've had a good day. We've had a keyboard lesson. We've had a little sing-song, and yeah, generally had a pretty nice day. So what have you been up to in the time since we've spoken last?
I can't say I've had my bottom kicked by someone as
Mm.
you have, but
Yeah.
nothing to report here, Jeff. Really, but yeah, I'm just looking forward to discussing the Arsenal.
Well, let's do it to it, shall we? Um, I don't have many graphics today because I've been run off my feet. But what I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is who lined up for Arsenal last night in what turned out to be a pretty glorious night for the Arsenal Academy. Um, let's start with a very young goalkeeper in Jack Porter, becoming the youngest ever debutant goalkeeper to play for the Arsenal. Josh Nichols playing at right back. At left back was Miles Lewis Skelly, who's had a birthday today. So happy birthday to you. Jakob Kiviar and Ricardo Calafori were your centre halves, being protected by Captain Jorginho and Declan Rice. Ethan Nawari makes his long awaited first team debut from the start, of course. Bukayo Saka, we might get into that in a minute, did make an appearance from the start, as did Raheem Sterling, and Gabriel Jesus was our centre forward. Big up to AFC always, who's joined us in the chat. We'll get to the Bolton goal in chronological order, if you don't mind, my friend. I just think we just got caught a little bit, maybe pressing a little bit too much. We'll get into it in a little bit. Posh, I want to get your reaction really, because I heard your concerns over the Twitter, and I responded to them. Tell me you're maybe looking retrospectively at it now, but what were your thoughts of the team?
So before the game, I thought, look,
Mm.
I've been on record here about how Arteta might be reluctant to give academy players a chance, and he did that in the Bolton game. But I also wanted a blend of the academy players and some experience as well. The defence was at first before the game. I thought this is a very inexperienced defence when you've got a 16-year-old in goal. Whilst I'm all for giving youth a chance and everything, the lack of experience in defence rang some alarm bells for me. And people will say, "Oh, Calafori's 22 years old, and it's his first season in England, so it's still a back four of inexperience." But obviously the game happened, and it was fine, apart from the goal that we conceded. But it wasn't really Jack Porter's fault. No, he did very well. Held his own very well as a 16-year-old. Played well in goal, and I thought our defence was all right.
Yeah, I thought so too. I kind of got it in terms of seeing an inexperienced backline, of course. Porter, 16-year-old in goal, and two first-team academy debutants in front of him. In the fullbacks, of course, Miles Lewis-Skelly, of course, had a cameo to play in the Manchester City game on Sunday. Josh Nichols making a start at right back was an interesting one. At least Kiviar and Calafori had a bit of first team protection in front of them, I thought, with Jorginho and Declan Rice playing. Of course, Jorginho hasn't had many starts in the Premier League. He had one when he was covering for Declan Rice, and he was pretty good that day as well. Declan Rice, of course, after his suspension, and he himself felt a bit rusty. I thought it made a lot of sense for him playing. The Saka one was an interesting one, I thought, in the starting lineup. He was withdrawn at the Etihad on Sunday. It's good to see it was tactical reasons rather than anything else. That was what I was worried about. And good to see Gabriel Jesus, Raheem Sterling getting the start. And it was nice to see Ethan Nwari get a start as well. Perhaps unsurprisingly, I felt that it was a little bit of a difficult start for Arsenal. Yeah, I'll break away. AFC always saying Saka shouldn't have started. Don't think Saka should have started. It's a case of what did we have left in the reserve, I suppose, because Martinelli did play, didn't he? Trossard was suspended, of course, for his
off the bench.
He did. Yes, he did. He came on. He came on for Saka after 70 odd minutes. I mean, yeah, they could have easily played Havertz, I suppose, but I do think they tried to manage game time the best they could have done. But yeah, we'll talk about chronological. He could have played Jesus on the right. Yeah, he could have done. He could have done. But
who would have he played up front though? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe AFC always is suggesting that maybe Martinelli should have started from the start. We're going to have opinions on who should have started and who shouldn't have done. I suppose. No, I think I said on record that I would have probably started Martinelli because I thought he needed some game time. I actually thought Martinelli worked his socks off at the Etihad. What I'm saying is that obviously when the situation changed quite dramatically, unfortunately, with the sending off of Trossard, he really had to operate in auxiliary left back position, really, and I thought he actually worked very, very hard. I don't think, obviously we went on the review show that Posh was hosting the other day, that we didn't have a lot of the ball and we played a lot out of possession and stuff. You can't discredit the players who were out there on the field on that Sunday last week, and the amount of work they put in, the amount of mileage, particularly the wide players, would have put in. Right, I've got to breathe. I need a script writer. No, I think I was saying that the game might have started a little bit uneasy, and particularly when you've got maybe a back five, including the goalkeeper, that wouldn't have played together much apart from in training. There were a couple of moments that were a bit difficult to deal with. There was a moment, Scott Armfield, if you remember Scott Armfield from Burnley days, managed to dance his way into our penalty area quite early doors, but the shot was kind of snuffled out, and a possible penalty shout that they did have. Bolton, to their credit, did come out for a game of football, didn't they?
Yes, absolutely. We could have been 1-0 down, but thankfully the shot went a bit more upwards than usual. But so it could have been a bit different. And you know that if we were 1-0 down and the teenagers would start struggling, then it would all be a different narrative, wouldn't it? And it would be a bit of a we wouldn't be having these conversations, but. Luckily for us, it was all right. Got out of jail free there.
I mean, I think they got some difficult positions. They got some chances, but clear-cut ones, I think less so in the first half, perhaps. Yes, there was one of the team that did claim a penalty. I don't think it was ever in doubt, and of course, no VAR, of course, in the in that competition at this stage, anyway. So we carried on, and in fact, we did actually score a quite a nice goal relatively early on. I haven't got the time in front of me. It doesn't matter particularly. I will talk about Josh Nichols. It might be a name that's not very familiar with a lot of us, but he had a part to play in it. Was on the right-hand side as right fullback, supporting the attackers. His pass across the penalty area eventually did find Declan Rice, whose shot was very composed just outside the penalty area to make it 1-0. Bertie, your thoughts on the opener, please?
It was a tremendous shot from Declan Rice. And, found bottom right corner, 1-0 to Arsenal. And I said to myself, hopefully it's all going to be uphill from here. And, yeah, it was. Lovely.
Do you mean downhill? Do you mean downhill from here? As in easier?
No. Going downhill means it's going to be bad.
Okay.
Uphill, I meant meaning uplifting. That's what I was trying to say. It was all going to be upwards from here. That's what I meant. But yeah, Declan Rice, lots of debate on whether he should have started or should have been rested. But at the end of the day, he got subbed off in the second half, so that's fine. But when he was on, he scored a lovely goal. Great finish, 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Another name, there's two other names that do need talking about a little bit that linked up for Ethan Nwari's goal to make it 2-0. Miles Lewis-Skelly, of course, making a start in the left back position, as I kind of predicted he might have done. He did play some of the pre-season at left back. Trust you to get hold of that rattling toy whilst I'm doing this. Oh dear. Amy in the background, guys. If you can hear jingle bells in the background, it's her. So yes, of course, making a full debut at left back. I thought actually played pretty good. And Raheem Sterling makes his long-awaited first start since deadline day. I thought Raheem had a very, very good game indeed. Of course, against lower league opposition. I'm not going to big him up that much, but I thought he had a good part to play. He showed the willingness and the attitude I think we wanted to see. I thought he was pretty outstanding during the day. And both of them two players contributed to Ethan Nwari's goal, made it 2-0, Posh.
As you say, never in doubt when it comes to Ethan Nwari. I think it was Lewis-Skelly that found Raheem Sterling there in between the two Bolton players. Great ball from Lewis-Skelly into Sterling, and a brilliant cross found Nwari. Calmly slotted it in the back of the net. Hello, Mrs. Meadows.
Hello, Mrs. Meadows, says Posh Bertie. Mrs. M's come back from a difficult day in Tesco Paradise.
There are other supermarkets available. Yeah,
certainly is.
Brilliant from Nwari. Sterling found Nwari. easy as you like. 2-0, we got the 2-goal cushion, and I'm very pleased for Ethan. He needed that goal, and very pleased. He looks very good, does our Ethan. I know that it's against League One opposition. I get that, but it's still encouraging to see him do well and find his feet nonetheless.
Yeah. It seems like our under-21 side are suffering a little bit tonight as a result of some of the squad being in action last night. As I give you a score update of Arsenal 0, Liverpool 3 in the under-21 competition, but let's not, let's keep it real. And so obviously a lot of our players was involved in the first team last night. I will go with the comment here from AFC Always here. Any more news on Raya? Do you think he'll be out for the game tomorrow? I don't think it's likely that they're going to, if there's any sort of risk, I don't think they'll play him. And I don't think they're going to play the young kid Potter in the Premier League. I would thought if there's any sort of doubt, I would think Neto would probably play in goal tomorrow for another debutant. Why not? A Premier League goalkeeper has played Premier League for a long time anyway. He was Bournemouth's captain, of course. So I don't have any issues with that. He also says I'd go with Jorginho, Bertie and Nawari in the midfield tomorrow. Is Rice not available?
He got rested for the from the bench, so I'd start Rice in midfield. He's fully fit. He's available.
I think what you're trying to say, is he was suspended for the Etihad, right?
No, I do think though that Nwaneri should start against Leicester. I'm going Bertie, Rice, and Nwaneri as our midfield.
In place of Trossard, then?
Trossard would probably be on the left wing in place of Martinelli.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
And presumably you'll go for Saka and anyone but Havertz up front, right?
No, I'd go with Havertz up front. It's anyone but Jesus at this at the moment.
Okay. Oh,
He was awful on Wednesday, Jesus. Sorry,
really?
but if you're struggling and missing a sitter against Bolton, you're not good enough to play for the club. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's quite harsh, Posh. He missed a shot on target. I thought he actually, for his first start of the season, I thought he did okay. No, that's all right. No problem. No, ASC always he meant Jorginho. Rice over Jorginho. Starts Sterling over Martinelli as well. Yeah, lots of debate going to be about the starting 11 for tomorrow's 3:00 kickoff. That's for sure. Maybe we'll cut back to the Jesus thing in a bit because I do have something written down in terms of one of the goals for him. But it's a bit difficult to judge Jesus, I think, on one game back. I don't think he's had any, certainly in public games to play. He might have had an odd cameo here, there, but not really that much. There was a brief appearance at Man City, wasn't there, where he certainly was involved in the little bit of the aftermath, a little bit of the scuffle, as was Ben White. But yeah, I think to say what you said, I think you're highly critical of him. And what we do need to remember is that actually some of our best moments, actually even on this channel, were through Gabby Jesus as well. I'm not trying to live in the past though, because there was a moment I thought he did exceptionally well, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it in a bit. Let's see. Anything else I need to say? No, there isn't. Let's take the comment away just for a minute, and then we'll talk. Obviously, we go in at 2-0. It could have been more, but we go in at 2-0. I don't want to spend an absolute age on the stream tonight. Let's take it to the second half, and I suppose the tie was really won very early on when Bolton get caught in possession when they were just trying to play it around their back four, and their goalkeeper, an interception for Declan Rice led to Ethan Nwari scoring his second goal of the game.
Yeah, that's another one for Ethan. They're proud of him. Very good moment. And I think he's definitely, in my opinion, in contention to start against Leicester tomorrow.
I agree with that.
See how he can do against Premier League opposition. Because so far, I know, like I said, it's against Bolton, but he impressed me. Still encouraging signs. And, good goal to make it 3-0.
And again, I think maybe a first-team Premier League debut from the start in front of a home crowd is not actually a bad idea at all. We'll see. We'll see. It's interesting. I was looking back at some of the old footage that you can come across on the YouTube and whatnot, and you see some of the criticism launched at Mikel Arteta when Ethan debuted for the first team. We were covering it live, my friend. We were covering it live against Brentford, and one Jason Cundy, formerly of Spurs and Chelsea, of course, was saying how I'm pleased for him, but Arteta's egotistical playing this young kid. He doesn't really care about him and whatnot. It turns out that one of the first things that Mikel done when he got the job after Unai departed was have a little chat with the one of the young coaches, saying about, I understand you've got a player for me, and he's had a bit of a thought in mind to getting him as soon as possible, really. So I just found it quite interesting. The words were, he's doing it for Mikel's ego and whatnot, not just to give the kid a little bit of experience. He's had, I think, by my memory, 2 Premier League experience, two games as a sub.
Yeah. As a sub, yeah. Look, I don't think he'd have brought him on if we were losing to Brentford or drawing with them, put it that way. But it was a great moment for Ethan. I remember we were covering it and we were like, oh, imagine he brings the 15-year-old on. And he did. And it was a great moment for him. So, I've got no problem with that, to be honest. And I hope Nwari potentially starts against Leicester. Yeah, Emerson thinks that Neto's going to be in goal as well.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how I feel about that because, it depends. Arteta likes to keep his cards a secret, as he said in his press conference. He wasn't giving a clear indication over whether Raya will be available or not.
Nor should he.
But if Neto starts, I think the scoreline will be different compared to. We'll still win, but it'll be if Neto starts, it'll be a nervy 2-1 to us. If Raya starts, it'll be 3-0 to us. If he's fit enough to start, that is. That's how I feel.
I'm trying to get the fixtures up. Yes, I have got the fixtures for AFC always. So obviously, Leicester City coming up tomorrow, 3:00 kickoff. It's the Paris Saint-Germain game in the Champions League. Following that on the 1st of October, we'll have a discussion off air about that. Following that, we have Southampton at home. Then we have Bournemouth away. That is on the 19th of October. Following that up with the home tie against Shakhtar Donetsk. And the month runs through 27th of October. 4:30 kickoff on Sky Super Sunday. Arsenal versus Liverpool. Right, so that covers the fixtures there. apparently Raya is amongst the with the squad, but obviously we will see what happens in terms of him. I don't think they'll take any risks with him personally. They might even play Neto and then have Raya on the bench, maybe as a prediction. If there's any sort of doubt, they won't play him, and they'll probably put Raya in the Champions League game. Do you think?
Probably, but Raya's been so good for us. I think he might be a bigger miss than some people might think. And I'm not going to underestimate Leicester City. I'm not going to underestimate any team we come against because, anything can happen in the World Football Federation. So, yeah.
Very, very well put. And I
still think we'll win. I still think we'll win regardless of who's in goal. AFC always says he's going for 3-1. That's probably I said 2-1. I'm going 2-1.
Oh,
similar to We'll go 2-0 up very, very comfortably, and in the last 10 minutes we'll concede some silly consolation goal, and we have to end up defending for the last 10 minutes. There.
I'm going to have to go one better on I again, like I did last time. I predicted it correctly, so I'll go for 4-1. How's that sound? You take that?
I'll take that.
Okay, so we listen. We'll let's get back to the match thing. So we're talking about Ethan Newari scoring his second goal. Let's talk about us getting caught on the break a little bit. We were up there and attacking, and one sort of clearance led us to Aaron Collins, literally running clear of absolutely everybody, and was composed enough to keep the ball at his feet and get the ball past our very young goalkeeper to make it 3-1. Do you have anything to add on this? Why was Jorginho the last man, etc.?
When the last man is Jorginho, no matter who you're against, it's not going to end well, isn't it? I think Jorginho as a midfielder is best. Jorginho as a midfielder is fine. As a defender, when he's the last man, it's not fine. Again, Collins had all the time in the world, took it round Porter, and 3-1. I don't know what more I can say about that. But
I think it was a case of Arsenal were getting quite confident in their attacks, and unfortunately they got caught on the break a little bit. And credit to Bolton for doing it, because they found one pass on that right-hand side to Collins, who managed to keep his composure. A lot of players were would have seen the situation in a big stadium if you're at that sort of level, and maybe choked on it, and he didn't. In fairness to him, he finished it quite nicely. AFC always in the chat does say no one can blame Potter for the goal. If anything, it was down to the midfield. Finley's in the chat.
What do you think to Chido Obi Martin finalising the move? Would he have been ahead of Xavier in recent squads? I think in the long term it will be a horrendous mistake to get rid of him. But he probably would have been ahead of. I don't know. I think that's probably a question for Emerson, who's also in the chat. Yeah. What do you think, Lee?
Possibly. We're talking about a player who did actually come off the bench, don't we? Let me just sort of put the lineup back on again here. Yeah, he came on for Sterling, didn't he, in the last 10 minutes or so? And I can't say I know an awful lot about him. And yes, I probably do agree with Finley that Chido would have been probably in that squad.
It's Chido time.
It's Chido time. On the Chido thing, as he does quite rightly said, I believe it's all official and done now after an age of I know these things can take some time, but the Premier League had to go to an adjudication sort of panel to sort out a compensation package and all that sort of thing. So it is now official. It's all completed move. Yeah, probably he would have got that place in the squad, and he could have made his Arsenal first team debut. He decided to go and take some a chance on himself at Old Trafford with a lot of money behind him. I'll say good luck to him, but we'll see how he gets on. I certainly will keep my eyes on his development, and we'll see if it comes back to bite us. It's a shame when a talented player leaves, or certainly a player with a lot of potential leaves you. Whether he'll find his way into a squad at Old Trafford might be another story completely. Moving on. How Arsenal responded to the goal leading to the fourth goal of the game. I quite enjoyed this one because it was Raheem Sterling gets his first goal for Arsenal. Saka almost feels like a veteran in this lineup, doing the work on the right-hand side, putting the ball in the penalty area. A tap-in, Sterling couldn't have missed in this one. In fact, both the goals here, the last two, were quite similar. But I'm pleased for Raheem because he obviously has got a point to prove after his move and being kind of forced out of Chelsea.
I thought Sterling grew into the game. To start off, he wasn't all that, but as the game went on, he got better. And it was an easy tap in. You weren't going to miss that. And Saka as well. He had a great performance overall. And there we are. Sterling scored a very easy goal, but fair play to him. He gets his start, his Arsenal career off the mark with a goal, and it's now 4-1, and we're very much in cruise control here. And to answer AFC Always' question, you've answered it. Yeah, Zinchenko's injured. That's why he's not playing.
Still out for a couple of weeks. I think Mikel said in the press conference. We'll get to the press conference ahead of Leicester very shortly. I don't want us going on very, very late today because I'd like to catch up with my family a little bit here because Mrs. M's just arrived. I haven't seen her all day. So, but yeah, Cabia, a raw talent, may get some more minutes against Preston in the next round of the competition, but Premiership and Champions League not for me. I think we'll have to see. It's kind of hard to judge a player I've not seen a lot. Again, it's always nice to see these players at least getting a little opportunity, I feel, and they'll whatever turn their careers will take, they'll gain experience for whatever minutes they get out there, I think. So, shall we complete the scoring here? And this is the part where I talk about Gabriel Jesus a little bit. You were quite harsh and happy wife, happy life. Yes, mate. You were a little harsh on Gabby Jesus. I thought he had an okay game rather than a spectacular game, but he did have a nice little bit of play to do here. He even lost his shoe in the middle of this. Gabby on the wide position. Had the shot that came in, actually sort of found Sterling, who sort of crossed it over, and big Kai Havertz slides in, little bit messy, little bit untidy, but a goal's a goal, and 5-1 completed the scoring, Posh.
Yeah, Kai Havertz came off the bench for. Who was it for? Was it for Rice, I believe?
It came off for Rice, I think. Yeah, just a little bit of a case of rotating whoever they could rotate, I think.
Yeah. We were in the driving seat there anyway, and Havertz off the bench gets the goal, and it's now 5-1. And fair to say, I think we've won this game.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, as I like to say, never ever in doubt, really. And like is said in the comments above us, an away trip to Preston North End is coming our way shortly. I think it was asked of us about an international break as well, so I will try and figure out when that international break might be. Just bear with me.
Second week of October? No, not second week of October. Third around that time. Third week of October.
Second week let's say where we have the 2 fixtures, Champions League on the 1st and the 5th, and Southampton on the 5th. Big gap between then and Bournemouth. So that'll be in there, I would imagine. And potentially one in November. Is there one between Chelsea on the 10th and Nottingham Forest on the 23rd? I would imagine that's probably the case. Okay, so that just about covers it. Do we need to mention anything else? Maybe a quick shout out, because we have mentioned some of the younger players. Maldini Kakuri coming on for 20 minutes for Calafori, who I thought looked okay. He didn't do anything particularly wrong. Ismail Kabir, we mentioned a second ago, coming on for 10 minutes. Gabriel Magalhaes did come on for Lewis Skelly. In the press conference, Lewis Skelly, who apparently had some cramp. This obviously was his first start in first team. He's apparently is fine. And that's pretty much all to report from that. So I suppose this is the part of the show where we best jump in and talk about our opponents for tomorrow. Leicester City at the Emirates. Apologies, Amy is noisy behind me. I can't do an awful lot about this. So it's kind of blitz through this a little bit if we can. So Arteta asked about some of the injured players from the previous week, and it says David Raya, chances of making the game, we'll have to wait 24 hours, see if he's good or not that good. Again, he's not going to give away, is he? He's not going to say, yeah, I'm going to play Neto. I'm not going to play whoever. So, fair enough. And it's just a case of not taking a risk. It's just making if he's available for Leicester, I think. Here's some good news about Timber and Ben White. Both took part in training today, of course. Now, Ben White only played the second half against Manchester City. We were a little bit worried on Timber. Obviously, he got replaced at the near the end of the game. Also, good news on Mikel Mourinho as well, mate. Too soon for the Leicester game, but maybe next week. He's had a partial training session today, and he's working hard. It's just a case of healing the bone and getting used to contact on it. So, encouraging news for our new signing. And I suppose the question would be, where do you see him sort of fitting in now?
Well, I don't think he'll be back next week. I think that's probably wishful thinking. Again, this is the type of injury I wouldn't take any risks on. A broken shoulder, I wouldn't take any risks on that. But when he does come back, he'll probably end up replacing Partey in the midfield and having Rice as the 6 and Mourinho as the box-to-box midfielder. That's how I see it. But yeah, AFC always says, I can't see Ben White being an Arsenal player in 12 months' time.
That's interesting.
You think it'll be Timber and Calafori as the fullbacks for the foreseeable? We'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure. I'd still keep Ben White. It's like I said, it's good to have a squad depth in these positions. So I'd still keep hold of him at the moment.
I mean, Mikel was very complimentary on Ben White, wasn't he, after the City game, saying that he'd run through walls for you if he could. I don't know the nature of Ben's injury, which didn't, obviously led him to be on the sub bench, but he played 45 minutes plus at the Etihad, and considering how we defended during the whole of that second half at the Etihad, I think we did exceptionally well. I didn't see any sign of him being injured, so he could either hide it very well, or he couldn't have been that bad. And the case was perhaps whatever knock or niggle of an injury he had, maybe he was attempting to try and protect him a little bit and rotate the squad that we have, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's much wrong with Ben White anyway. Timber, I'm not too sure, but hopefully they can both be fit against Leicester. It's important to have a squad as fit as they can be for the Premier League games, and I think Ben White should be fine. Timber, we'll wait and see, but questions here. Oh, yeah.
I'll just say to assess the Ben White situation. Maybe that sort of question might be asked in the summer transfer window. Perhaps you're thinking of his age thing as well, perhaps, because he's a little bit older than some of the other players. If he keeps on at a decent level, I don't see any needs for him to go. I wouldn't have thought so, but difficult to assess at this moment. I still really like Ben White and everything he does as a defender. He's good on the ball. He gives you everything he's got all the time, and I don't mind him having a shot every now and then. Yes, I said that deliberately on purpose because of the he should stop shooting comment that you made last season.
Just questions here.
Yes, of course.
First from AFC Always saying, aren't Arsenal ladies playing against Leicester ladies over the weekend?
Absolutely they are. And talking of the Arsenal ladies, if you've not seen it already, on the channel today, there's 2 videos that have been uploaded from Sam Wilson, talked about the qualifier yesterday in the Champions League. I will try and get the team who they played in front of me right now because I can't remember it without getting it or butchering it. Basically, I don't want to. I think it's a side called Hacking, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's right. It's Hacking Women. So Sam done an excellent match report on that and talks about the draw that followed that. And Arsenal women do play Leicester City women at 3:00 on Sunday afternoon. I wouldn't imagine we'll be able to do that live anyway because I'm not sure it's televised. It may be on YouTube. I don't see a point in us doing the watch along when it's already on YouTube, if you understand what I mean.
And even if it was on TV, I wouldn't be able to do it with you because we have the family around to belatedly celebrate the belated birthday of one Pedro Wanless, who has been in the chat and may not be related to me. I can't give away his age because all I'm going to say is I said happy birthday to him about 60 times on Wednesday. Finley Logie says he doesn't look a day over 59. Finley Logie says, do you men have any thoughts on the fullback positions, Calafiori, Timber and White? We were just talking about this. Seems to me like one very good player is going to miss out. I feel it could be White long term who misses out. It's good to have rotation options. That's what I can say, especially when you've got busy fixture congestion with more games being added. So I can probably see maybe White and Timber rotating in the right back position. Maybe.
I suppose you have to consider this as well. When you've got the likes of people like Josh Nichols, who impressed, I think, at right back yesterday in the game, to see how he develops. There's a guy called Robinson who's in the academy as well, who's played, and I saw him on television. In fact, scoring a wonderful goal from about 40 yards the other week. I suppose you assess squads, don't you, at the end of every season, and if you have to make moves away, that could possibly happen. And like I said, I can't without seeing Ben's age straight away. He's one of the older members of the squad. Perhaps that could happen. But again, I like the fact that we've got some experience cover because you're going to need experience cover in the amount of games that we all play.
Yeah, Arteta isn't afraid to move on these players. Tierney and Ramsdale come straight to mind. Well, Tierney's still with the club, but he ain't going to get a single minute, unfortunately. Ramsdale, yes, but I can understand why Ramsdale was going to be moved on because he didn't suit the system that Arteta plays. But I don't see any reason why Ben White should be moved on in my view. Timber had a cramp, thank you. AFC always says, I'll be surprised if Trossard is here in January or next summer. That is interesting. Again, we'll have to wait and see. I know a bid came in from a Saudi Arabian club, apparently, but I don't know what. We'll have to wait and see come the summer. That's an issue for that. I don't think he'll be gone in January.
No, I don't either. I think AFC always has made that point before on a live stream. I think up until Man City last Sunday, I don't think certainly my broadcast colleagues had a bad word to say about Trossard.
Until last Sunday, yes.
Yeah, and to be fair, he's served his punishment, hasn't he? Not only was he dismissed, he was made drinks man during training.
I thought he was also forced to be the referee against Atalanta, wasn't he? No. Yeah, look, on that point about, I really hope. I think I said before, I don't like how a lot of our squad keeps on playing the victim when it comes to the whole giving the ball away thing, because it just means that we're not going to learn from these mistakes, and there'll be plenty of other times where players will, on another yellow, will unintentionally give the ball away, and then, red card, you've not learnt your lesson. So they got to actually learn and think these are the rules, and and stop blaming the ref every time we drop points.
Yeah. Okay, we'll keep on talking about Trossard then, because maybe AFC always has seen something that I haven't. Why did Trossard go to his agent and ask for a move to the Saudis?
I've not heard anything from that, in my opinion. So I don't.
In my view, that is purely speculation. I mean, Trossard, when he's been available, has played the majority of the season, hasn't he? So I don't see any reason why he would go. There's a couple of things else here in the chat.
Yeah.
This comment here from Emerson is the Champions League group for the ladies' side. AFC always does say happy birthday to Pedro Wanless.
Yes, thank you, AFC always.
And I think you covered the other the one from Finley.
Yeah, in some positions we're still not used to it, but in defence is probably where we've got the best levels of depth. And
it's something like I said about the days of having a strongest starting 11. I think I made the other week. I think are long gone now, because of the amount of games that we do that are expected of the players, whether it be Premier League, whether it be cup competitions, whether it be European competitions or international competitions. It is it's a very, very difficult one to get. You can't really expect many to at an elite level of sports to be playing like 90 minutes or whatever week in, week out. There was reports, AFC always, of course, of the report that Arsenal turned down £35 million. Yes, I heard that too. I also didn't think, and I think I can speak for Bertie here as well, I don't think that was ever taken seriously by anybody involved at Arsenal at all here.
Yeah.
Do you want to respond to that, Bertie, before we move on?
I don't think their mistakes are all as ridiculous. On neither occasion did Rice or Trossard waste time. If they did, it was a matter of seconds. I know, look, these rules, they're stupid rules. I've said this before. And the consistency in the refereeing when it comes to different clubs is the problem. But these are the rules, and I think our players need to realise that. A matter of seconds shouldn't result in red, even if it's a second yellow. Well, it's a yellow. you get a yellow card for it.
Yeah.
And Trossard and Rice, in those occasions, were on a second yellow, and they got a yellow card. But because they're on a second yellow, they got a red. So you can't do anything about that.
You are right in saying that they were on bookings and they have to be a bit cautious, but I still think both were extremely harshly dealt with. What I will praise on the Arsenal team player that stayed on the field is how well they coped with that situation, being at this stage of the season we are unbeaten still. Arteta himself said if they don't learn from that, they'll be very silly indeed, or something like that on the press conference following Brighton, I believe. So yeah, and it's AFC always. I distinctly remember you doing that comment a couple of weeks ago. RVP in the new camp, literally half a second blows between a very noisy new camp Barcelona going, and then he kicked the ball, and referee couldn't wait to send him off. I think that's kind of the situation here, but you haven't heard me whining about the thing. In fact, I was quite critical of how Trossard conducted himself after the red card because I don't think he helped anybody. Honestly,
the way he kicked the ball as well was way more obvious than the way Rice did it. So yeah. I think he didn't really help himself.
AFC always wishes that we were playing Manchester City tomorrow instead of on February the 1st. Well, fix your computer, I'm afraid. Can't do much about that. Yes. Finley, yeah, okay. We've seen players let off for obvious yellows, but the ref doesn't want to give a second yellow. All I say
it's always someone else's fault when we drop points, isn't it? But yeah, look, let's not.
Well, hold on, because I don't think myself, I don't think Sam Wilson said anything along them lines. I think I said it was unfortunate, but we were very proud of it.
I wasn't talking about you two. I was talking about our online fan base that wants to scapegoat, that wants to not hold any of our players accountable and just blame the ref for when we drop points. It's tiresome now. The only time I think the referee was at fault for an Arsenal result was the Brentford game where the ref forgot to draw the line. That was the only time where I was a bit mad at the ref for doing that. But that's yeah.
Fair enough. But what I will say is, I'm certainly going to keep watching. And if anyone else gets, anyone else on the booking decides to even kick the ball a smidgen, you know what? I'll be watching it and see how they react to it. Do you know what? AFC always. I have a question for you, perhaps. Yeah, he says, I thought Haaland was disrespectful to Arteta at full time. I think Haaland is extremely
square
lucky.
Up to Lewis Skelly.
I think Haaland's extremely lucky not to get any sort of retrospective action done on him after he threw the ball at Gabriel. After the goal. Don't you? What sort of example does that make?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't often hear you speak.
I don't know what's bad on that.
I mean, just give me your opinion. You don't often, be quiet on these things.
Yeah, I don't know, but probably not probably a bit of a silly thing to do, really. No, there won't be a watch along of tomorrow's game because to do that, if we have to do that, we have to go on a definitely legal stream, and we'd both probably be on different timings, so it just wouldn't be right.
And Saturdays are very, very difficult for me anyway because I'm on daddy daycare duty. Okay, look, if we've got a difference of opinion in the chat, I'm quite cool with this. So we'll put the comment up. Couldn't disagree more. I think the refs have cost us plenty of points, but I'll agree to disagree. You know what, Finley? That is exactly the best way. Absolutely the best way. I think what Porsche is trying to say is is not going to allow a referee's decision to,
Yeah.
you know,
To be the
make
main
that result.
reason why we lost
Yeah.
or drew.
Yeah.
When I remember,
absolutely.
I remember the Newcastle match, the controversial goal that was allowed probably
Yeah.
shouldn't have been, but we had one shot on target the entire match.
Yeah.
So
No, that's right. I remember covering it. I remember doing it, mate. So yeah, you are right. You are right. Yeah. What I will say to AFC always, and great question. If I could do it, I'd love to. I won't be. I'd give your attention to True Gooner. Have a look at Josh, because more often than not, Josh has a magical device. We might be able to see the Premier League games. Check him out. He's a good guy as well. So yeah, and so that's what we have to say. I think, Posh. I think that's going to just about wrap us up, isn't it? For tonight, I would maybe expect a report from the under-21 game off Emerson if he can do it, which I'll probably put out tomorrow. I would imagine we will resurface probably on Monday when we talk about the Leicester City game. And then we'll see how we get on from there. How does that sound to you, sir?
yeah, we'll probably end up doing a review of the game or something, and we'll be in discussions whether what we'll do for the PSG game later on.
Absolutely. But meantime, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get out of here for this Friday evening. I'm going to go and have my dinner and say hello to my dear wife, who I've not really said hello to in the hour that she's been here. But thank goodness she's very, very tolerant, and she's very supportive of what we do on the channel. So big up to Mrs. M. She's getting the recognition. She gives me a whoop whoop as we are coming off air. Bertie, would you like to do your social media thing? We'll get to the comments, and then I'll sign off.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter or X at Posh Bertie. My Instagram's at Bertie Wanless, and I run Gooner Gathering's Instagram account, which is at Gooner Gathering, and you can find us on this YouTube channel.
Thank you very much indeed. Emerson's already done the report for the under-21 game. I will put it on the channel tomorrow morning, so we have content coming out throughout the week. So it will probably that'll come out, I would imagine, something around 9:30, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, depends on when I go for my break at work. All right. Couple of comments here. Finley, I guess what you're saying is like City, if we defend that corner be better, but we couldn't defend this corner better, we still win, but the game would still be different without the referee's decision.
It would have been a different game if Trossard didn't get sent off. Fine, but again, the rules are the rules, and the way Trossard kicked the ball was way more obvious than Declan Rice. That's all I'm going to say there.
I suppose the trajectory of the ball suggests that, Posh, and I do agree with you on that one. AFC always says Leah Bertie, another great show as always. Finley, I thought you were a new name with us, and look, we appreciate you being here. Please, if you could hit that subscribe button, as we are so close to 350 subscribers now. So that we are, a big thank you to all of you watching us live. Any of you watch us on demand, even if you're watching us on demand, please hit that like button on every single video. It helps our channel so much. And if you haven't already subscribed, after an hour of hearing us waffling, please do so. Niall Kane is just we're about to leave, mate. We're doing the social medias and signing out, but Niall Kane is here. So hello, great to have you here. Like, share, and subscribe, as he says. Emerson's done the report. I've just seen it come up on my phone. You could, of course, can find me at Goonerly Mead. You can find us at Gooner Gathering. If you want to appear on one of our shows, give us a DM on the Gooner Gathering or the Goonerly Mead Twitter X account, and we'll make it happen for you. I'd love to have some new faces on the channel. Posh, we said we'd like to keep it down to an hour. Mate, we've done it just perfectly. Thank you very much for Niall Kane, who hit the 6th like of the live stream. So that's appreciated. We are going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys, and we shall see you live with the live stream sometime next week. And until then, enjoy the weekend.